You were incarcerated for 34 years, is that right?
35.
35 years. And I understand you've maintained your innocence the whole time.
I still do.
Tell us about that. Was that hard to maintain your innocence the whole time?
Um,
And
I
why did
I
you do
think
that?
I think an innocent person doing time is different. If I was guilty, I would have just resigned myself and said, you know what, I'm guilty. I done it. I'll just do the time. But in your mind and in your heart and in your spirit, you know you didn't do anything, and it's sort of like torture because you think to yourself all the time that you shouldn't be here, and you got people. One of the things that was difficult for me with parole was to see people that was guilty making parole, and I think I had in excess of something like 18 parole hearings. So it was 18 times I was turned down, or more. And you you think about it being innocent, and you sort of, initially when I went up the first time, I said, you know what, I'm innocent. They're probably gonna let me go and sort of let this go on. But you know what? It didn't happen like that. They opposed it. It was difficult.
Do you think it would have been easier if you said, yeah, it was me?
That was one of the criteria for making parole, was that you had to take ownership of the fact that you committed the crime. And I never said that I committed the crime. I always maintained my innocence.
So when you heard about this letter suggesting the sheriff at the time and, quote, some of his team members, that's according to current Greenville Police Chief Ken Miller, may be involved in the murders and framed you, what went through your head?
I wasn't surprised. It was a lot of people that was surprised, but I wasn't surprised. And one thing about me, um, I've been the bridesmaid a lot of times, but never the bride, because I had a witness recant in 2004. The key witness for the prosecution recanted, and I was hopeful that I would get a new trial, but I didn't. The judge that ruled in the case, his name was Brogdon, and that was the last act that he did as a judge. He ruled that it wasn't sufficient for me to get a new trial.
And I understand you were sentenced to the electric chair originally.
My initial sentence was to die by electrocution, yeah. In 78, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that the death penalty in South Carolina was ruled unconstitutional. But they turned around and tried to have me resentenced to death. But the South Carolina Supreme Court said that they couldn't, and then that's when I received a sentence. I received a sentence of 224 years.
What was that like for you, thinking you might die?
It was it was difficult to understand how did you get to be here, and the people that were instrumental in orchestrating the the trial and the investigation. It was hard to understand, why would they do a person like that? Why would you do the evidence like you did the evidence? Have people come and not tell the truth and send a man to death row. It was just hard for me to fathom that people would be that cruel to send a man to death row.
And so back to this letter, when you learned that they had lost the letter, what went through your head?
Considering that the two investigators that put together the case against me, that got me convicted, came out of the same department, the Greenville City Police Department. So, you know, I wasn't surprised. You know, it sort of seemed, when I really thought about it, it sort of seemed like business as usual.
So what about the two investigators who were?
They came out of the same police department, Lieutenant Christopher and Bridges. They came out of the Greenville City Police Department.
They were the original investigators on your case, like back in the 70s?
Right.
Okay. And they were in the Greenville Police Department?
Yeah.
Okay.
The city police department had jurisdiction over the case because the crime was committed in the city police, in the Greenville city limits.
I see. Okay, gotcha. I guess I was getting confused because I was thinking about the sheriff. Okay. But neither of them are with the police department anymore, are they?
Both of them are deceased.
So after this letter has been lost, is there anything you want to say to the people of the Greenville Police Department?
I think that this is not a good thing. And it's not a good thing for the families involved, because after 45 years, that's another lifetime. And this continues, not only for me, my families and the other families that's involved. And I think two words that come to my mind is integrity and trust. You want to believe in the system, and you want to believe in fairness, and the right thing will happen and rule out and win. But this is not a good thing, because it's a double murder. It was a double murder investigation, and it was evidence. And the case was under review by the cold case because the city police chief ordered it. And it's sort of sad that key evidence of what may have been key evidence, it's not there anymore. And it's hard to understand the gravity of the case and the seriousness of the case. How could that have happened? You know, not only is it not a good thing for me, but I think the people of Greenville, they have a certain expectation. And that expectation should be an expectation that the people that serve them deserve better than what they got. Not only did I lose, I felt like they lost, because they're looking at that department now, and it casts a shadow of doubt
do you think that it would have a real difference in your case?
That's a good question. But there are people there that can help me. There have been a lot of people who came forward with the podcast that I'm doing, Murder, etc. And they have been very instrumental in helping me. There's a lot of people in Greenville that can help me. There's a lot of people in Greenville that can help me with my conviction, because when people want the right thing to happen, then things happen. But I think that the people, that this is at that magic moment, that magic point when people should let a son come back home.
How has this been for your family?
It's been very difficult. I spoke to my sister right before y'all came, and you know, sometimes I can't even go home.
How often do you get back to see them?
This doesn't seem like the best time for me to go, because just like what I said, the level of trust and you know, I don't feel like this is a good time for me to go home.
Because of the publicity around the case, or?
You know, I've said this before, in that when you have people that send you a group of people that send you to death row, it sort of puts you in a mindset where you're not too trusting and you're not too comfortable, because they may in fact it's real scary.
Are you hopeful that they'll find this letter?
No, I'm not hopeful.
Why not?
They hadn't found it yet.
The Greenville Police Chief has asked the FBI and the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division to investigate this. What do you think about that?
I always try to be hopefully optimistic. So if it proves to be fruitful, then that would be a good thing. But I'm innocent. I'll continue to pursue my innocence. I made a promise. I won't stop trying to prove my innocence until God tells me to stop.
And then I understand the Greenville Police Department has also confirmed that they received a gun on October 31st that may be related to the Looper's murders. And they've also asked an outside agency to do a ballistic examination of that gun. That's what they said today in that press release.
Right.
What do you think about that?
I'm praying about it, and I'm praying that's the answer to my prayers. Because if it is the gun, then that will be a mechanism for me to be free and exonerated. So I'm praying every day and every night that that is the way that God is going to free me.
What would your exoneration mean to you?
I think that that would be bittersweet. 45 years is another lifetime. You know, and I've dealt with this for 45 years. So at best, it would be bittersweet.
Do you think it'll ever happen?
I think it'll happen if God decides that it's going to happen.
What do you say to people who may be watching who say, you know, why should we believe Charles Wakefield?
I say that they don't have to believe me. I say that they can listen to the podcast and decide for themselves.
All right. Kyle, do you have any questions?
So, you said for 45 years you were in prison, is that correct?
I was in prison for 35 years, and I've been out since May 18, 2010.
What was your time in prison like? Were you in South Carolina? Where were you?
South Carolina.
South Carolina. What was it like in there?
It was difficult, but I was a person that helped people. I was a person that walked with God, and I was a person that was well respected. People knew about my case, and people knew that I was innocent. And people, they respected me. The staff respected me, and the inmates respected me.
Do you have any message for, I don't know how many of them are still alive, but the people who helped put you behind bars?
I just hope that whatever they gained, whatever success or whatever they got from doing what they did to me, I just hope that that was worth it to them. And people do things to people for a lot of reasons. But I don't think that I could have did anybody that way. And, you know, like I've said a number of times, you know, I had to forgive them a lot of years ago because, you know, you can't live with hate and that much hate, even for a person that ruined your life. So long ago, I forgave them, you know, and I moved on with my life and tried to make the best of my life.
All right. I don't have any other questions. Is there anything
Okay.
else you want to add that people know or want to say?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Anything we didn't ask you about?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
But oh yeah, my daddy, my father, he fought with me, and he almost saw me free again. You know, 8 months before I was paroled, he passed away, and that was one of the most difficult things I had to deal with, because eight more months, he would have lived to see me be free again. So that's something that I think about a lot, you know, and I mean, it happened like that. So that's a tough ride for me.
I'm so sorry for your loss.
He missed it by 8 months.
And how's the rest of your family?
My mom, he died in 2009. My mother died. That's a picture of my mother there. She died in 2008. I got a stepmother that's 97,
Oh, wow.
and she's gonna have a birthday the 17th of December. She'll be 98, and she's still here. And I'm hopeful that she'll see me exonerated before she go. I'm praying, that's one of the things I'm praying, that she'll see that. Because it, you know, people don't realize when you're in prison, everybody's in prison. So they've been in prison too.